Shields up, Ironbreakers. Rookon here coming at you with another video, and do I have some good news for you. Now, if you guys are like me and you're pretty hyped up about Monster Hunter World coming later in January, you guys are probably getting pretty hyped up, and one of the fears that you guys might share alongside me is with loot boxes becoming more and more prevalent in the industry, was you guys might be wondering whether or not loot boxes would be present in Monster Hunter World, which would essentially diminish my enjoyment of that title quite a bit. However, it seems we are in luck because the team behind the development of Monster Hunter World does not feel that they are properly adequate for that title. Now, this is a Gamespot article that I came across where someone from Gamespot asked Monster Hunter series producer Ryozo Tsujimoto whether his team ever considered adding loot boxes to Monster Hunter World, and his response was, "I think that Monster Hunter has already built that kind of randomized item reward into gameplay. Whenever you carve a monster after a hunt, you don't know what you're going to get within a certain range. You've got certain rare parts that you almost never get. Read Rathalos plate, Raytheon plate, you know, those kinds of things that we never get. You've got some of the ones that you don't need that you get a lot of, like scales and stuff like that. And then there are the rewards for the quest as well. There are some rewards that are standard, there are some that are randomized and a bit bigger or smaller chance of getting them. And I can elaborate on top of that by saying that, you know, bigger chances of getting stuff depending on whether or not you break a monster's claws, or whether you break a monster's wings, whether you break his face, break a horn, chop a tail. That kind of stuff determines some of the loot that you get out of these monsters. Then they go on to say that he explained that it just felt like Monster Hunter World doesn't need that kind of system. And then he says, "You've already kind of got loot as a core gameplay aspect without having to shove a microtransaction version of it in," Tsujimoto said, and thank you, sir. Thank you for putting my fears at rest. Then the article goes on to say the mechanics are essentially part of the game, but what about saving a player's time? And this friggin' argument that constantly comes up, what about saving a player's time? It's like, it's not, basically when you have that, when you put in microtransactions to save time, what ends up happening is you fuck up the game for everyone that is not willing to put in those microtransactions in favor of saving someone who is willing to put in the microtransactions on the game. They skew the balance, which is why we don't want this kind of stuff in there. Anyway, the answer to that was, our focus is on wanting to get people to play our action game and feel the kind of satisfaction that comes with the achievement you get with completing a hunt and getting rewards. Oh my god. Okay, this is the proper response right there. Focus on wanting people to actually play the fucking game instead of skipping over it. He goes on to say, we want people to have the experience that we've made for them rather than the option to skip the experience. I find it mind-boggling that I'm having to sit here and explain this to people, because I know that somewhere out there, someone's warped mind actually probably wants loot boxes in Monster Hunter so that they can skip some of the harder hunts and... Anyways, then in a separate interview, the game's director Yuya Tokuda echoed that response, and here's what he had to say. "I wouldn't see a paid loot box or paid system for getting random items as fitting Monster Hunter, because it isn't a game where the strength of the items is the key aspect of how you proceed. The idea is that the time you spend hunting and the action part of the game is how you brush up on your skills. And then, of course, you get rewards of better items, but by skipping out on the part where you get better and hunt, if you're simply getting more items, I don't think that will be a very satisfying experience for players, because it wouldn't even necessarily make it that much of a time saver if you haven't got the skills to use the items you have gotten." Oh my god, when I was reading this last night, I can't even tell you how happy I was. Then he goes on to say, "I think that games that successfully do loot box systems are designed around them completely from the outside, and they're a core part of the gameplay loot." Whereas as our loop, it's more based on the gameplay action itself, then gathering items, then using that to create better gear, and then using that to go and do more action gameplay. We would have to fundamentally rethink our gameplay loop. When you're including loot boxes, you have to make them desirable to players and make them want to have them by introducing them in basic gameplay. And then that leads to further opportunities for purchasing to save time or get cooler items. And with our gameplay, we can't just put them in there and have it work. We'd have to have a substantial rethink, which is not something we're particularly planning to do at this time. And after reading all of this, there's only one more thing I can do. That's right, I'm clapping. I wish I had more people to clap with me because thank God it's not going to happen, you guys. We're not going to have loot boxes in Monster Hunter World. And I can't even begin to tell you how happy that makes me. Let me know in the comment section if that makes you happy as well. Thank you all very much for watching this video. This is one of those videos that I'm just 100% happy to put out there. It's just, this might be the best news that I've gotten all week, easily. So thank you all very much for watching. Remember to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you are new to the channel so that you're always notified when there's a new video or a new live stream. And I will see you guys in the next one.